Are you familiar with this logo? If you are, I'm not surprised. People all over the world, all different ages and all different backgrounds are able to recognize this brand just by looking at their logo. Today, I will be informing you on the well-known, well-loved brand we know as Nike. At the end of this presentation, you'll be able to identify the different marketing strategies that the founders of this brand used to become so successful. Within this presentation, we'll be going over the history of the brand, the marketing tactics that the founders used to gain traction for the brand, as well as the popularity the brand has and how it has affected the world as a whole. So it all started in 1964 with Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight. Bill Bowerman was a track and field coach at a university, and Phil Knight was a student athlete that was on the track and field team. According to Britannica, December 1st, 2022, the brand that we know as Nike actually started as Blue Ribbon Sports, where they sold primarily athletic apparel and sports equipment. This name, Blue Ribbon Sports, lasted for 14 years until the two founders decided that they wanted a more meaningful and catchy name for the brand. According to a film documentary called In Brands We Trust from 2002, Phil Knight is actually credited for the name change. It is said that he chose Nike because, for one, it sounds similar to his last name Knight, but also, and more importantly, because Nike in Greek means victory, and they wanted their attentions to be reflected by the name of the brand. So, with victory in mind, they realized that they had to up their marketing game and come up with unique ways to get the name out there. Changing the name was a good thing for them. They ended up selling more things rather than sports stuff, from everyday apparel to everyday lifestyle things. They have different things for different kinds of people, different kinds of purposes, whether it be fashion or sports. The same film I mentioned earlier explains that Nike wanted to sell a symbol and a feeling of victory in not only their products, but also their commercialism. This was a good way for them to separate themselves from the other competition that they had at the time. Another way that they separated themselves was by incorporating important figures in their advertising and in their commercials. According to the story of Phil Knight and Nike from May 7, 2022, the Nike collaborations were usually with the best athletes around at the time because Nike wanted their products to be credible and they wanted their sources to be reliable. So they kind of used the appeal to authority in that sense. Michael Jordan is obviously one of the most known collaborations with Nike, and he brought a lot of attention to the brand. Because he has so many people that admire him, so many people began to admire the Nike products that had a tie with Michael Jordan. Nike is most commonly known for their comfortable and stylish sneakers now. If you go on their website and search shoes, every sport that you could think of comes up, from cycling to cheerleading, and even leisurely things like walking and running, and also everyday lifestyle shoes are available on the website. There's pages and pages full, so you could really see that they have something available for everyone. With all these shoes available, people started collecting shoes, and this is known as sneaker culture, which is the hobby and hype of collecting shoes. So for example, a shoe from 1985 called the Chicago Jordan 1s are available on eBay for over $4,000. So if you look here, this is the Jordan 1, and you can see that the price is $4,199, and this just goes to show how much people value the shoes, especially the ones that are from like a while ago, because they're hard to find and Nike's not going to remake them. So Nike isn't the only kind of shoe that is collected, but it is credited for starting the whole trend of sneaker culture. According to North Carolina State University, February 3rd, 2021, they explained that a lot of sneakerheads trace the origins to the 70s and the 80s when Michael Jordan popularized sneakers in general. Michael Jordan is obviously closely tied to Nike, as Lux Digital, November 20th, 2022, explains there are 35 different kinds of Air Jordan models, and that doesn't include the different colorways that they have, the collaborations, the limited editions, and the retro versions, This is just the kinds of Jordans that they have available. Nike continues to adhere to the population's wants and needs, and they create new editions and versions of the popular sneakers so that they remain the talk of the sneaker culture. So, all in all, we went over the origins of Nike, the tactics that Bowerman and Knight used to raise the brand's value, the impact the brand has on the world, and now you know more about the brand and how it became so successful, as well as how it started. Nike continues to grow, as I mentioned, and given the information provided, it is clear that the founders took the right steps in order to create a name for their brand.